ICE agents are now physically and officially inside U.S. airports, at the security checkpoints, at the departure gates, and in the terminals. And whether you're a U.S. citizen, a visa holder, a green card holder, or an international visitor passing through, what is happening right now changes how you need to prepare every time you fly. The news channels are already sharing that ICE is at the airports, but they are not telling you what it actually means for your rights, your documents, and your travel plans. I'm not here to take sides on the politics of this. I'm here because this is a travel channel. And this is the biggest travel development happening in the United States right now. And I'm also here so the travelers that watch this channel can feel safe and protected. So let's get into exactly what you need to know. The first question is, how did we get here? Let me give you the full picture because context does matter. On February 14th, 2026, a partial U.S. government shutdown began. At the center of it is a funding dispute between the Trump administration and Democrats over how federal immigration agents operate. Because of that shutdown, TSA, which has nearly 65,000 employees, including around 50,000 frontline security officers, stopped receiving their full paychecks. And when you stop paying people, they stop showing up, right? At some major airports, more than 40% of TSA workers called out sick in one single day. Security lines stretched to 4 hours. Spring break travelers, families, students, seniors were stranded in terminals across the country. The Trump administration's response was to deploy ICE agents to more than 14 major airports starting Monday, March 23rd, 2026, officially to help manage the chaos and fill the gaps that TSA could no longer cover. Now, here's where it gets more complicated and where most videos stop telling you the truth. President Trump himself said publicly, and I'm going to be very direct with you here, that while ICE agents are there to help with the TSA staffing crisis, they will also be making immigration arrests. His exact words were that airports are, and I quote, very fertile territory for arrest. So, this is not simply a staffing solution as was first indicated. ICE has two divisions operating at airports. The first is Homeland Security Investigations. They handle drug smuggling and human trafficking. The second is Enforcement and Removal Operations, and they arrest non-citizens who violate U.S. immigration law. Both are now deployed at your airport. Plainclothes agents have already been filmed making arrests, including at San Francisco International Airport, where a person was detained at a terminal gate. ICE confirmed that arrest. So yes, this is already happening. Now, let us be very clear about the legal boundaries here, because your rights do matter, and you deserve to know what your rights are. ICE agents are not TSA agents. They are not trained or certified to conduct aviation security screening. They cannot run your bags through an X-ray machine. Their official roles at airports right now are crowd control, staffing exit lanes, and monitoring terminals. However, under federal law, specifically 8 U.S.C. Section 1357, ICE officers have the authority to question travelers, check documents, and make warrantless arrests if they have probable cause to believe that someone is removable from the United States. That is a broad power. And critically, your rights at an ICE encounter are different from your rights at a TSA checkpoint. TSA conducts what are called administrative searches. They can only legally look for threats to aviation security. They cannot legally stop you to investigate immigration violations, but ICE can. And that distinction matters enormously depending on who is standing in front of you. Now, let me be honest about who this affects, because I think you deserve a straight answer. If you are a U.S. citizen with a valid real ID or passport, your personal risk from ICE at airports is very low. You are not required to answer any questions about your immigration history. Simply identifying yourself is supposed to be sufficient. But if you fall into any of the following categories, you need to pay very close attention. Visa holders. This includes student visas, work visas, tourist visas. Green card holders. Yes, even lawful permanent residents can be targeted if they had any contact with the criminal legal system, including old arrest, past convictions, or even expunged convictions. DACA holders. ICE has already detained people with active DACA status, people with temporary protected status, especially if your TPS has been recently terminated or is under review. People with pending immigration applications. This is the one that surprises most people. ICE is arresting individuals who have submitted applications for immigration status or are waiting for a decision. Having a pending application does not protect you anymore. And international visitors passing through the U.S. on connecting flights. TSA has been sharing passenger information with ICE multiple times per week, including names, photographs, and flight details. ICE cross-references that information against their own records. If anything flags on your file, agents can be waiting for you when you land. So what do? Let us start with documents, because this is the single most important thing you can control before you ever leave for the airport. U.S. citizens, please make sure you have your Real ID compliant driver's license or your U.S. passport. Keep it accessible. Do not bury it at the bottom of your bag. International visitors, carry your visa, your I-94 arrival record, and your passport at all times inside the terminal. Do not pack these in your checked luggage. Green card holders, carry your green card or employment authorization document. If your case has any complexity, a past criminal matter, an old immigration issue, carry certified copies of those court documents as well. And here is a tip that most people do not think about. Print your boarding pass. Legal experts are now recommending this specifically so that you do not need to unlock your phone at a checkpoint, because ICE agents have the authority to ask to search your digital device. You have the right to refuse that search, but a printed boarding pass means your phone stays locked and in your pocket or your pocketbook or your personal item bag. Now, what if an ICE agent approaches you directly? Here's exactly what to do. Stay calm. Do not run. Do not argue. Do not raise your voice. Panicking or reacting aggressively can escalate a situation very quickly, and that will not help you. First, ask clearly and calmly, am I free to go? If they say yes, thank them and walk away calmly. If they say no, that means you are being detained. At that point, say these words: I am exercising my right to remain silent, and I want to speak to an immigration lawyer. Then stop talking. Do not try to explain your situation. Do not volunteer information. Do not show any documents beyond what is legally required. Write down or memorize the phone number of an immigration attorney or a trusted person before you travel, because if ICE detains you, they are not required to notify anyone unless you have signed a specific privacy waiver form in advance. If you are traveling with family, make a plan before you go to the airport. Decide who to call, where to meet, and what to do if someone in your group is detained. I hope you're listening. The airports confirmed to have ICE presence as of Monday, the 23rd of March, including Atlanta, Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, JFK, New York, LaGuardia, Newark, O'Hare in Chicago, Houston, and several others, with officials stating that more airports may be added in the coming days, depending on how the TSA staffing situation develops. Border Czar Tom Homan has said this will continue for as long as it takes. That's what he said. Civil liberties organizations, including the ACLU and the Asian Law Caucus, have already published Know Your Rights guides specifically for airport travel. Go research that. And former acting ICE Director John Sandberg has warned publicly that if ICE begins broadly checking IDs and making arrests at checkpoints, airports could become significantly more chaotic. Now listen, this situation is part of a much bigger wave of travel rule changes happening right now that most travelers do not know about until it's too late. This is exactly why I put together my ebook titled 10 Massive Travel Changes That Could Wreck Your Next Trip. It covers the most important shifts in travel rules, border policies, documentation requirements, and airline regulations that every traveler needs to know before they book their next flight. The link for this ebook is in the description below. Go grab your copy. You're going to need it. I will also be updating this channel as this ICE airport situation develops because things are moving fast. If this video helped you understand what is going on, please, 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 please share it with someone who's flying soon or thinking about flying anytime in 2026. They need this information. Please subscribe to the channel because in a world where the rules keep changing, you need a channel that keeps up with everything. And that's what is here on True Travel Treasures. Thank you so much for watching. Have a safe flight and be careful. Okay? Thank you.